What's up? It's Marco back in on This Week in Soccer, the weekly show where we cover all players from the U.S. men's national team player pool. And yeah, we got a good amount to talk about this week. A lot of clubs returning to action, got MLS playoffs going. But one thing we don't have anything to talk about is goalkeepers. Because Zack Steffen's still on the bench, Ethan Horvath's still on the bench. Matt Turner got a bye, that's a positive, but didn't play. And Bill Hamid's DC United is out of the MLS playoff race. With Bill Hamid, I still want to talk about him because I see potential for him because for every goalkeeper we have that's getting consistent minutes, he's probably the best with his feet. So I see him, I still think of him as, pretty valuable. But if he's not called to the December camp, I'm just going to stop talking about him because I don't think he's been called up this year. Not since the last MLS-only camp. But, next going in center backs, and John Brooks put together another solid performance. It was a 2-2 draw, but he played well individually, winning headers and duels and doing pretty well on his long balls. I mean, he's everything that we want in a center back, and he's left-footed as well, can help play out the back, and I don't see why he was dropped, and he continued to play well. I don't get it, and hopefully he'll just be recalled in January because he's a good player. Next, we got a Chris Richards, and Chris Richards is an interesting case because he's playing every week, but he's coming off the bench, and center backs don't really come off the bench consistently. We'll get into Matt Miazga later, but you can bring into somebody off the bench to try to help seal up a game. But Chris Richards is consistently coming off the bench, getting 30 to 20 minutes a game, which is good. I mean, he's getting good minutes in the Bundesliga, which is such a weird situation. But at the same time, he's proving that he can be a center back and come off the bench, which is something that's kind of valuable because a lot of times when you bring the center back, they can kind of disrupt the flow of things. You don't really like to sub on center backs during games. So if Chris Richards is able to do that well, that's something good for the national team, and I'll take him getting minutes because we got guys like Mark McKenzie who's just straight up not playing. He didn't make an appearance again for Genk this week. They do have a midweek game this week, and he tends to play sometimes when Genk has midweek games because they want to give one of their center backs a rest. So there's a chance he'll play next weekend, but I'm not too sure. He's got to get some more time. Maybe you look for a loan out during the January window, but I'm not sure because Mark McKenzie, he needs to get some more playing time. Matt Miazga, I mentioned him with center backs coming off the bench. He played the last 20 minutes for Alavés as they tried to seal off a win, but it didn't end up working. They conceded in stoppage time to Ivan Rakitic. Man, we got a guy who's playing against Ivan Rakitic, and it's not even that big news. And that's awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's good that he's getting playing time, but didn't really do his job. And next, we got Cameron Carter-Vickers in Celtic. He helped them to a 1-0 win, kept a clean sheet in the Scottish League Cup semis. So yeah, very good performance there. And Cameron Carter-Vickers, he's been adjusting to Scotland well. It was a bit of a shaky start, but man, he's somebody who's proven that he can really adjust to different levels. Every time he goes on a loan with a different club from Spurs, he'll do well. He goes to championship, does well. Helps his championship team fight for promotion. Now he's doing well in Scotland. And yeah, I really feel like he's got that capability of him to be a Premier League level center back. Maybe that's for more of a bottom level team, but I feel like he's got that ability in him, and I'm hoping that he can do that next year. So next guy to talk about is Miles Robinson. His team lost in the MLS playoffs. It was a pretty poor performance by Robinson, but man, he was playing well with the national team, so maybe he's just tired, but not the greatest performance. George Bello didn't perform the best either, and both of Atlanta fans think that both of them played their last game for Atlanta. George Bello, there's been some links with Galatasaray, I think, before, but nothing really too solid. Miles Robinson, again, I don't really see any rumors for him, a club in Europe interested, but their fans think that he's going to be going, so I guess that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, I could definitely see both of them going to Europe because two very solid players, Miles Robinson especially. Next, we got Tim Ream and I guess Antonee Robinson, and they continue to perform in the championship. I mean, Tim Ream, he's proven that he's a very good championship center back, which almost seems like a backhanded compliment, but I mean, that's not a bad level. And as a left-footed center back, him as our 7th choice center back, I'm not mad at. He shouldn't be called into the team, but it's okay option. And Antonee Robinson, he's doing well in the championship, which, I mean, just shows like very good championship left back is a starter in our team. But I think that he's got the ability to become a Premier League level player, like Cameron Carter-Vickers. I mean, he was that last year, but I think he'll probably stick. At Fulham, I think they're going to get promoted this year. And should they get relegated next year, I feel like he'll stick around in the Premier League, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, good job there. Erik Palmer-Brown, still not playing for Troyes. He was loaned in there, and they're playing a back three, and he's not getting minutes, so yeah, he's another guy who we're really going to have to consider if I even want to keep talking about him. And Justin Che, now that his season is over, FC Dallas fans expect him to move on. Bayern Munich's probably the main team that's interested. I could see him going there and playing for Bayern Munich too for a while, like Chris Richards did. But yeah, I expect to see some transfer news pop up for him soon. Now going on to fullbacks, and Sergiño Dest, first guy to talk about it. He is still injured, but according to Barcelona Blaugranes, I think I'm saying that wrong, he's back in training, and he's possibly going to play in the Champions League game this week. So that's good to see. Hopefully he can make a good impression on Xavi. I should note that Dani Alves signed for Barcelona, and normally a club signing a player for competition for one of our guys, like that'd be bad news, but man, if Sergiño Dest can learn under Dani Alves, I would love that, because I think Dani Alves is his idol. He said that before, so man, that's only going to be a positive, and I expect Dest to get it even better just playing with Alavés week in, week out. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. I covered Antonee Robinson. Reggie Cannon, Boavista didn't play yet, but he is still suspended from his red card, so don't expect to see him soon. DeAndre Yedlin, he's still starting for Galatasaray. They lost this week. Brian Reynolds, he's on the bench again for Roma. I feel like that's a bit of a positive, but Roma Press says a move for him is likely. The thing that I keep seeing is a loan to England. There are no clubs mentioned. There's not even mentioned if it's the Premier League or the Championship. I expect to be one of them, but I think he's going to be out of Roma in January. Probably only on a loan, but I expect to leave Roma. Joe Scaley, he's still starting and still impressing for Borussia Mönchengladbach. He had a very good game again for them, and yeah, he continues to play well. I'm really hoping we get him some minutes pretty soon for the national team. I mentioned George Bello, and Sam Vines is still starting for Royal Antwerp, so that's definitely good to see for him. Getting himself some playing time, that's good. Now going on the midfielders, we got Weston McKennie. He started for Juventus in a win, and conflicting reports with Weston McKennie. Fabrizio Romano, who's basically like, I don't know, the Shams or Woj of soccer at the moment. He reports that Allegri is starting to really turn a corner on Weston McKennie. He's starting to really like him now. He's one of his favorite midfielders. And I feel like with how much more he's been playing, I think that's true. But there are still rumors of clubs like Tottenham, Aston Villa, and West Ham being interested in him. I expect him to stick around at Juventus because he has been playing a lot more recently. But those rumors are still there. Tyler Adams, he's continued to start for RB Leipzig. They lost this week, though. But one thing to note about him is he keeps getting linked to Arsenal. These have been going on for a while. I don't see him moving on like right now, but it's definitely possible. I mean, Arsenal, I feel like they could use a player like Tyler Adams, and he would help them. But at the same time, it's kind of tough to say because I don't think he'd be really jumping to leave like Champions League football and to go to Arsenal. So I don't know. I feel like more of the end of the season we'll learn more about that. Next, we got Yunus Musa. He's continued to come off the bench for Valencia. Good to see him get some playing time, but you'd like to see him start a bit more. And I feel like, especially with Gio Reyna coming back eventually, like it's going to be tough for him to keep his spot in the national team or starting spot in the national team with him coming off the bench consistently. Brendan Aronson, he continues to start. RB Leipzig drew this week, but going to get a Champions League game. I think they're against Lille. That's going to be really interesting to see. And it's good to see Brendan Aronson get some playing time. Gianluca Busio continued to start. He got an assist in a win for Venezia. And Tanner Testman is starting to play a lot more for them too. He might be somebody to start adding to this list, but yeah, good to see Venezia because we expect them to go down, but they're actually competing pretty well in Serie A. I expect them to stay up now. Richie Ledesma, still not back from injury. And I feel like he's getting close to coming back, but I still can't find any updates on him. Julian Green started in a loss for Greuther Fürth. Man, they are awful to watch. That team, like, they just make so many mistakes. Like, they're not even that bad. It's just, I don't know. They're definitely getting relegated. But Green is actually playing pretty well for them. Like, he's making chances, showing good technical ability, good athleticism, kind of like Gianluca Busio defensively, where the effort's there, but it's not really that great of a performance. But, I can see him. He's a good player, I think, and I do want him back in the national team, at least for, a shot. But, Carter Firth are not looking good. And Caiden Clark played his last game for New York Red Bull, barring a loan back, and as they lost it to the Philadelphia Union in the 123rd minute. Man, great goal by Jacob Lesnes. Now on to attackers with Christian Pulisic. He scored as he came off the bench for Chelsea in the win against Leicester. He's getting back to 100%, getting more minutes under his belt. Good to see there. Gio Reyna, he seems unlikely to return before the Germany winter break, but I do expect to be back by the next USMNT national team window. And he'll hopefully get a lot of playing time in there, or a lot of practice time in their, second preseason, basically. And he should be back starting again for Dortmund. Tim Weah, he's still starting for Lille. They had a 2-2 draw, but, man, it's good to see him continue to get playing time. Conrad De La Fuente, he didn't get to do much this week because their game was suspended, Marseille, because Dimitri Payet got hit by a projectile from a fan. Yes, that's the second time this year that happened, and jeez, I don't know what's going on in France, but specifically Marseille keeps getting games suspended because fans throw stuff at Dimitri Payet. I don't know why, but very interesting there. And Nicola Giacchini earned his first start for Montpellier, which should be a great achievement, but unfortunately one of his teammates got a red card, and in order for them to go more defensive, that he was substituted at halftime. So disappointing there, but man, he earned a start for them. That's really good to see, and he's another guy who could get back to the national team full soon. And next, Jordan Morris. He's getting ready to play in the MLS playoffs. Their game's coming up real soon, but good to see him back. Hopefully he's back to 100%. I mean, I know he won't hit 100% that quickly, but hopefully he can get back there, Now on to strikers, we got Josh Sargent. He came off the bench and helped Norwich to a win, as Norwich are really turning things around. I was wondering if they'd even hit 10 points, but man, they're about a win away from getting out of the relegation zone, and Norwich are starting to really do a lot better. Daryl Dike, he's got an MLS playoff game coming up tomorrow. Jordan Pefok, BSC Young Boys, they haven't played yet since their return, but he's got a Champions League game tomorrow. Matthew Hoppe, we finally got some news on him. I think we've known that he was injured, but we finally got confirmation. Sports Illustrated, they report that he's out for 6 weeks. Again, we've known that he was hurt, but this is the first time, I feel like it's said by, not rumors, it's actually public. He's actually somebody who I want to talk about a bit more in depth, because Mallorca and his move there has been kind of weird, but yeah, out for a while. That's disappointing to see. Kate Coyle, his season's over. Hopefully he'll get an appearance in the December camp for the U.S. national team. Same with Jesus Ferreira and Ricardo Pepe. But Ricardo Pepe, he's got a couple things to talk about with him. He earned MLS Young Player of the Year. That was a bit controversial. Some people thought Tayshaun Buchanan should have won it. I see the arguments on both sides, so I don't feel like it's that big a deal. But his links to other clubs continue. Same with Daryl Dike, but it's just so many that it's kind of just all melts into one. He's definitely going to leave at the end of the year, but I don't know where. And that's all we have to talk about this week. And a lot of players, got a couple moves coming up. Hopefully MLS transfer rumors will start soon. Definitely want to see Miles Robinson and Ricardo Pepe move on. I know there are some arguments that, it's a World Cup here, you don't want to risk not playing, but the players should try to get better. And if we're punishing, if Miles Robinson goes to let's say he goes to France and he's not playing that much, we shouldn't punish him by not playing him, because we know he's still a good player. And I don't know, I feel like that's such a weird thing that we call up just MLS guys that are kind of average instead of European guys who are coming off benches and starting, because they're taking that opportunity to improve themselves after they already dominated the MLS and earned that move elsewhere. So I don't know, that's weird to talk. That's weird, I think. But yeah, that's all I'll talk about this week, and yeah, I'll see you.